Hello and welcome to another CSD Fantasy YouTube video. Today I will be looking into some numbers for Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh McCown. I will use these numbers to analyze the impact this quarterback change will have on some of the Jets wide receivers and one tight end. So without further ado, let's dig in. First I want to go over some trends for the quarterback, but I want to show you how I divided the field. So I have 6 zones, 3 short zones, 15 yards down from the line of scrimmage, and outside and inside the hash marks. And 3 deep zones, and those are everything beyond 15 yards from the line of scrimmage to the end zone. So for the trends, looking at the two quarterbacks' most targeted areas, we see that McCown's favorite zone is the short right, with 33% of his passes going to that zone, while the deep middle is his least targeted zone with only 4%. It is pretty similar to how Fitzpatrick distributes his throws, but one area that overshadows everyone else. Comparing their completion percentages is pretty disturbing. Fitzpatrick, the guy that can throw 6 interceptions in one game, have a better completion percentage in all zones except the deep left one, where McCown is 1% better. Yay. McCown's worst zone is the deep right, where he only hits on 26% of his passes. That is 23% less than Fitzpatrick. And to put that in perspective, if both of them throws 500 times with their usual distribution and completion percentage, McCown will complete 9 passes while Fitzpatrick completes 17. Comparing with where they get most of their passing yards from, we see that McCown has 3 zones he gets more yards than Fitzpatrick from. And just to be clear, he might not get more actual yards from these zones. It is just that these are the zones he sees most of his yards from. The zones are the short middle, short right, and deep left. It is now time to put all this information together and see what and where we will be looking for synergies and bad fits. Some positives for McCown: the short right zone. He throws 33% of his passes to that zone, which for 500 passing plays would be 23 more targets than Fitzpatrick. He also sees 31% of his yards come from there, which is by far his most productive zone, and 10% more yards than Fitzpatrick. His worst zone is the deep right. He only has 26% completion percentage there, which is 23% worse than Fitzpatrick. So who can benefit from this? These 3 players sees most of their targets in the short right zone, where McCown throws more than any other zone and gets most of his yards from. I've divided up their potential gain if the Jets give McCown 500 passing attempts or 600. I know 600 is a little bit up there, but I thought it would be fun. So Enunwa will see an increase in 4.3 receptions and 40 yards in the right zone with 500 attempts, and 5.1 receptions and 43 yards with the 600. So this is where we really see how little McCown's best zone will impact these receivers. Anderson will see 4.7 more receptions and 44 more yards on 500 plays, and 5.6 and 49 on the 600. Peak is the one that would benefit the most of these receptions and targets, even though his yards won't see as much as the other ones. Now let's see who does not fit with McCown. There's not a player that has the deep right as their best zone, but there is one player that has the numbers to suggest he's not that good of a fit for McCown, and that is Eric Decker. Decker's best zone is the short left, a zone he sees 31% of his targets, 26% of his yards, and catches 70% of the balls thrown to him. These are the best combination of numbers Decker can boast. And putting that in relation to McCown, he throws 1% less to that zone than Fitzpatrick. So Decker might only lose 1 to 2 targets. But here's the kicker. McCown only hits on 64% of those throws aimed to the short left zone compared to Fitzpatrick's 73%. With Decker's current catch rate, it would be a potential loss of around 4 receptions. And with his current yardage gain from those passes, a loss of 40 yards and 1 touchdown. With him also coming back from injury, Decker is one guy I'm really low on for 2017. All in all, McCown has a worse completion percentage in all zones except the deep left, where he only leads by 1%. That is 30 less completions over the year and almost a 300 yard loss if we assume 500 passing plays over the year. 0.6 yards per target worse than Fitzpatrick. That is 30 fantasy points gone for wide receivers with McCown instead of Fitzpatrick. And McCown's best zone does not fit with their potential wide receiver 1. That is also a negative for me. He needs 27 attempts to throw a touchdown over the last 3 years, while Fitzpatrick only needs 23. That means 22 touchdowns on 500 passing plays and 19 for McCown. So that would lead to an 18 fantasy points loss for pass catchers over the next season. And with all that information, I can only conclude that I will stay away from Jets wide receiver in 2017. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Everything is very much appreciated. Check out Instagram and Twitter for more charts and numbers with links in the bio. You can also head over to CSD Fantasy's website for more fantasy numbers. And as always, the spreadsheets are dark and full of terror.